hello. Which is your definition of dance house today?
Well, dance house, I think, is it has to have a space. I think it has to have a physical space. It has to have the possibilities to spend time and create, to research, to communicate with others, to meet. So it has to be a meeting place. It needs to have facilities like, apart from also network facilities, it also needs to have people who are there to help you and you can really form a family with. So a dance house for me is really a house as in home. And a place you can go to with questions, a place you can go to for work, a place where you can find help and support to write applications, to find theaters, to find interesting other artists who maybe you want to collaborate with but you don't know yet, and we're looking for a musician or an artist or a visual artist. And then I think a dance house also has the responsibility to help produce the productions which will go into the audience and which will travel hopefully, and which will bring the independent artist into a more moment and a situation of freedom and independence. I mean, apart from being an independent, but also to really be independent. Yeah, and for us, for Dansmakers Amsterdam, it's also very important to have a local network, to have a national network, and to have an international network. And that's, I think, both important for the artists as well as for the organization.
Okay. And today we talk a lot about sustainability. Can dance be sustainable?
Yes, I think so. And well, of course, this is a word and a topic which is very much now being talked about. I believe that dance, because of its medium, because of its physicality and honesty, therefore, it's a very honest way of communicating. I believe that dancers and choreographers can really communicate to children, to students, to elderly, to the high art audience, but also to the low art audience and the street culture. And I think that this is a movement which is really starting now again, and dancers are also feeling the need to be part of this globalization, opening up the borders, dealing with the problem of immigration in Europe. And I think that by finding more audience and finding more support from your audience, from different kinds of audience, you can become more sustainable as an art form.
And what made you choose dance as a career?
It's in the heart. I started as a very young girl. I was 3 when my mother put me on ballet class. And then I stopped when I moved country. I was living in Central America. And I moved country, and then I went to Mexico when I was 8. And I did not go to class anymore, so I stopped that. And then I asked my mother, I want to go to dance again. So I started again, and I fell in love. It's I don't know. It's something that if you get into it, it's very hard to get out of it. I think, and you don't want to get out of it. I mean, I don't want to get out of it. I think because what I've said first, that it's a very honest art form, and it's so close to you, and it's not something mental, but it's something very close to your emotion, and it changes all the time, and you can connect to others, and you can also do it alone. Yeah. So it's.
Yes. Before you also told us that you are less choreographing now because.
Yeah.
What are you trying to do?
Right. Well, yeah, so I started as a dancer, then became a choreographer and worked for 20 years as a choreographer and dancer. Also creating dance for films, but mostly for the stage productions, traveling everywhere. And then I got the chance to become the curator for a performance art festival, which is in an old church. It was a collaboration between Paradiso and EDN Festival in Amsterdam. And the Paradiso is the pop temple, so it's an old church which has become the pop temple of Holland and a bit of Europe, I think. It's very famous. But it's an old church, and so I had the possibility of programming 14 more or less groups in one evening for 2 days, starting from 9 o'clock at night until 4 o'clock in the morning. And I had total freedom to make this choreography, actually. So I decided to make, with all those pieces of people coming from all over Europe and the world, you know, Aerowaves pieces and all kinds of artists, to program them site-specific in the Paradiso, and therefore to deal with other artists and their work as a curator, but actually as a composition, and talking to these artists about how we would set the work, how we would put it, and where we would put it. It opened my eyes as to that I was not only wanting to be busy with my own art after all those years, but that I wanted to give it on, to give my expertise to others, and to do something for the young generation to continue. And I find this very fulfilling, and it's very just as nice to do.
Thank you very much.